Hello dear students of class 10th, welcome to civics class. I hope all of you are fit and healthy. Students, in this video, I shall be continuing with the 7th chapter from your civics book, that is Outcomes of Democracy. Students, in the previous video, I introduced the chapter and also explained you the first topic, that is how can we assess the outcome of democracy, right. I told you that there are several loopholes in this form of government, but in spite of that we prefer democracy, right. As I told you that democracy is not only good in principle, but it is related in practice also. That means in practicality also democracy is preferable. It should be preferred by people and it is actually preferred, right. So students, I ended the previous video with a question that do we follow democracy only because of moral grounds or also because of some prudential reasons? Are there only moral reasons we are following democracy, or are there some prudential reasons also? So I told you that not only for the moral sake, but there are some prudential reasons why we are following democracy. You know students, different types of democracies are there in different countries. You will observe differences in democracy. But let me tell you that all democracies, they are very much different. Definitely every country is having democracy. I mean most of the countries are having democracy, but the democracies that are followed in those countries are very much different from one another. For example, the democracy that we have in our country, the way decisions are taken, the way political parties function, their efficiency, their working way, everything is very much different from the democracy of America, France or any other country. Definitely several countries follow democracy, or democracy is there in those countries, but every country has its own way of following it. Every country's socio-economic and political structure is very much different. So large differences can be seen, large differences can be observed. So students, every democracy is different from one another. Now my question is there any similarity when it comes to democracy, or do we have a common point? Yes, we do have a common point. As you can see here, the common point is we, that means the citizens of any country as well as their expectations. So this is the common point when it comes to democracy. See, if democracy will be there, that means how it will be there? It will be there with the help of the people. Because of the people only democracy will be there. If people will not be there, that means democracy will not be there. And if people have chosen a form of government, and if people have chosen a particular leader, if people have given their precious votes to a political party and that party has formed a government, that means a democratic government, then people will have their expectations also. In a democracy, citizens are there, and with the citizens, expectations are also there. For example, as democracy gives so many advantages, or it offers so many benefits to the citizens, for example, right to freedom, right to equality, right to property, there are several rights. That means we are expecting something from democracy, right? We are expecting something from this form of government. That means if democracy is there, then we must get this, we must get that right. These are our expectations. Now when I talk about a country like China, or when I talk about a country like Pakistan, I do not consider those countries as democratic, even though they consider them as democratic, but in real sense, in true sense, they are not democratic. Because you have already learnt in class 9th about the major features of democracy. When it comes to China, only one party is there, and in a democracy there should be multiple parties, multiple options should be given to the people so that they can make a right choice. They can give vote to their favorite political party. But in China, nothing of this sort is there. When I talk about Pakistan, the same thing is there. Means only one party is not there, but military's rule is there, right? So people do not have their say. People cannot express. There is lack of expression, I feel. But when it comes to our country, India, then we have elected a particular leader, we have elected a particular political party. That means definitely we will be expecting something. Our expectations will be high that we will get this, we will get this benefit, we will get this right, we will get that right, and so on, right? So the thing that is common in democracy is the people and the people's expectation. All right. See, democracy is only a form of government which only creates conditions for achieving something. That means it only creates base, it only provides a platform to achieve something, to get something. But it is the citizens who have to take advantage of those conditions and achieve their goals. That means citizens have to play a very important role. Democracy is all about citizens. It is citizens centric, I would say, right? So this is the only thing that is common in democracy, when democracy is followed in real sense in any country. All right. So I hope till here points are clear to everybody. Now students, we shall be moving to the next topic, that is accountable, responsive and legitimate government. Now see, direct questions are asked in your examination regarding this topic. So you need to be very clear about each and every term. That is, what is accountable government, what is responsive government, what is a legitimate government. You need to know these terms very clearly. Okay. See students, as I just explained you that democracy means the people, the citizens, we people, and with the citizens comes the expectations. We have several expectations, right? Like right to choose our leaders, right to participate in decision making, means we should be included in the government, in all the activities that are taken by the government. So we have to be included, we need to be included in everything. So students, the people, that means we want the government to be accountable. Now what is accountable? Accountable means answerable. Answerable to whom? Answerable to the citizens. If the government is taking if the government is doing something, if the government is taking an action, that means the government has to be answerable in case a particular thing goes it means students that if a government is doing anything, if the government is taking an action, that means the government has to be responsible, the government has to be answerable to whatever happens, to the end result, whether the result is favorable or the result is not favorable. The government needs to be answerable to the citizens. We can ask any question to the government. Why government is doing this? Why the government has taken this decision? Why the government has implemented such and such rules? So the government has to be answerable in all the cases. That means the government has to take responsibility. So taking responsibility, that means taking responsibility, be answerable to the citizens, refers to accountability. So this is the meaning of accountable. That means the government should be accountable, the government should be responsible and should be ready with the answers. For example, let's suppose that some kind of accident has happened when it comes, I'm saying this again. For example, let's take example of railways. Okay, let's suppose that some kind of accident has happened and several people are injured. Then who will take the responsibility of that accident? The railway minister has to take the responsibility. The railway minister will be answerable that why the accident happened, what were the loopholes. So nobody but the government has to take responsibility. The government has to answer to the people, to the citizens of the country, and this the government is doing. That means the government is accountable to its citizen. I hope this point is clear to everybody. Now, why the government has to be accountable? Why? What is the reason? Why the government has to be accountable to the citizens? See, the government has to be accountable to the citizens because it is because of the citizens only government has been formed. If citizens will not give their precious votes, then government can be formed? No, government cannot be formed. So, citizens play a very important role, and if they ask something, then the government has to answer. The government has to immediately take steps. Alright, this means that the government is accountable in every manner, in all the decisions, in all the activities the government is performing. Alright, I hope the meaning of accountable government is clear to everybody. Now students, when it comes to decision making, are all the decisions taken by the government are effective? Are all the decisions in a democratic government taken are effective? When we compare the decisions that are taken by a democratic government with that taken by a non-democratic government, what do we find? What are the issues? See, when we compare both of them, we find that the decisions that are taken by a democratic government, for example India, the decisions are very much delayed as compared to the decisions taken by a non-democratic country. There the decisions are very quick, they are very prompt. Now what is the reason? Why a lot of time is wasted? Why a lot of time is consumed in taking small decisions also? Because we have to be consulted, we have to consult a lot of people. There is a several protocol that has to be followed. Every person has to be included in that decision. That is why we are taking a long time to take decisions as compared to a country that is non-democratic. That is why a non-democratic country takes decisions very promptly, because they do not discuss, because they do not include their people. They do not think about the outcomes. They do not bother at all, because they know that people cannot do anything. People cannot snatch away the power. They will be there in power. People cannot do anything. But when it comes to democratic government, the government is feared that if we will not act according to the people, maybe in the next elections we may be removed. So this is one reason. So definitely you can say that a lot of delay is there, but the end result is effective. Qualitative decisions are taken in a democratic country as compared to a non-democratic country. So students, in a democracy, decisions are taken on the idea of negotiation and deliberation. A lot of discussion is there in order to take a single decision, and that is why the decisions are effective, and it will of course be effective. Also students, when it comes to a democratic form of government, then transparency is also there. Everything is very much transparent as compared to decisions that are taken in a non-democratic country. So the government is accountable, the government is answerable, the government is responsible, because they have to answer to the people. If people ask anything, then the government is bound to answer, the government is liable to answer. Also students, there are several features like free and fair elections. Free and fair elections are there, that means it shows transparency. If free and fair elections will not be there, then what will happen? The country will become, or the government will become, non-democratic. The students, apart from regular free and fair elections, we have open public debates so that the information should reach the public. Things are not discussed secretively. Things are openly so that every information can reach the public, can reach the citizens of the country, which shows that again our democracy is, our form of government, whatever form of government we are having, is accountable, is answerable to the people, because it shares all the decisions, all the things with the people of the country. Then next point we have citizens participation. Definitely people are participating, they have their say, they have the right to express what they feel, what they want, right, which shows again that democratic government is accountable, it is accountable to the people, it is answerable, it is responsible. Then next is free of corruption. Definitely this is also a very important point when it comes to democracy. So if we compare a democratic and non-democratic country in terms of decision making, then we can conclude that definitely delays are there in a democratic government, as a lot of procedure has to be followed, a lot of steps are there which has to be followed. But when it comes to a non-democratic country, decisions are definitely very much prompt, very quick, very fast, but they are not as effective as the decisions that are taken in a democratic country. So in order to be effective, time is needed, right, which is there in democratic country. So qualitative decisions are taken in a democratic country. So I hope accountable form of government is clear to everybody. That means the government that is there in our country is answerable to the needs of the people, answerable to whatever the public asks. Okay, the government cannot say that no, I will not answer, or no comments. No, government cannot say that. It has to answer the public, because if the government will not answer, then the public may snatch away the power that they have given to them. Alright, so I hope that accountable government is clear to everybody. Now students, let's come to the next form of government, that is responsive government. Responsive means to respond, to react. So the government that reacts, the government that responds to the expectations, to the needs of the people, so that type of government is called as a responsive government. Students, we have so much expectations from the government, right? So since we have so much expectations from the government, so the government has to be very much responsive, the government has to react, the government has to respond to the needs. For example, if we say, for example, if the students all over the country, if they demand, if they want that, okay, job vacancies are not coming, if they are on strike, or if they are doing some protest, then the government has to respond, the government has to immediately react to their needs. What will the government do? The government will pour several vacancies to meet the needs, to meet the demands of the students. So this means that the government that reacts or responds to the needs of the citizens, that type of government is called as a responsive government. Alright. So I hope this topic is also clear to everybody. Now students, there is a question that is the government responsive towards all our expectations, or government should be responsible to all our expectations, all our demands? See, the government has to judge, the government has to see that whether the expectations are up to the mark or not, whether that has to be fulfilled or not. And if the government thinks that yes, the expectations, the needs, the demands that are coming from the citizens, they are absolutely perfect, they have to be, cut this line. If the government thinks that whatever needs, whatever demands are coming from the citizens, from the public, they are up to the mark, then definitely the government takes steps, the government responds to their needs. So I hope that responsive government is also clear to everybody. Now students, in the next video, I shall be explaining you about legitimate government. Till then, thank you so much. I hope all the topics that I have explained in this chapter are clear to everybody. We shall meet in the next video. Till then, stay safe and stay connected. Thank you.